You're listening to The Wedding Whisperer with Sarah Burton of Simply Love Studio in Lexington, Kentucky. So Spotz Gelato is one of my personal favorite local businesses. I originally met Beth probably 5 or 6 years ago now, and I have been a big fan ever since. So I'm very excited to have her on today's podcast. So Beth, tell us a little bit about Spotz Gelato and how you got started in it.
Well, it's kind of a roundabout story. We started about 10 years ago. My husband and I had a hobby farm in Scott County, and we were raising fruits and vegetables and putting them in CSA boxes, a subscription program for a lot of families. And at one point, we were feeding about 30 families every week. And so I couldn't grow all of the things to fill these boxes. And so I developed this network of other local farmers that were growing really great things. And I would put their things in our boxes. And at about the same time, we were traveling real often to this one town. And there was this ice cream shop there that almost every night after dinner, we would walk to this ice cream shop. And for some reason, it was just the best stuff I ever ate. We kind of got to know the guy that owned it. And I finally said, half jokingly, how come your ice cream is so much better than any place else in the world? And he said, well, because it's not ice cream, it's gelato. Well, what is that? And he explained it to me. But one of the things that he mentioned was that it was made daily from fresh local ingredients. And I thought, well, I'm going to go home and try this, because we have all these farmers we're already working with. So that's what I did. Made it in my home kitchen, took it to family events and potlucks and whoever would eat it, And one too many people said, you should sell this. And that's how we started. So we got a vintage trailer, turned it into a food truck, bought a machine, made gelato on the food truck. The first food truck.
Wow.
Oh, it was crazy. We would go to events and we would run out of flavors, and somebody would come to the window and say they wanted to get a scoop of chocolate, and we'd say, well, we're making it. It'll be ready in a half an hour. And the same guy, we'd get so busy, he'd come back in a half an hour and we hadn't had time to make it. It was crazy. But then by the second year, we wanted to add another truck, and we would have either had to put another machine on that second truck or use a commercial kitchen. So at that point, we built a commercial kitchen on the farm and then have continued growing since then.
I did not know all of that history.
Yeah.
So that is impressive.
So I'm kind of an accidental gelato maker.
I feel like there are a lot of accidental businesses in the wedding industry as a whole.
Uh-huh.
So I get that.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the difference in gelato and ice cream.
Well, there's two main differences. The recipe is a little different, and the ratio of milk and cream is different with gelato and American ice cream. So gelato has less fat, so it has more milk and less cream, where American ice cream has more cream and less milk. And then the second thing is it's made in a machine that spins at a much slower speed than when you're making ice cream. And so there's less air. That's why it tastes more dense, tastes like homemade ice cream.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you able to do like a vegan gelato in any way, shape, or form?
Yeah. So for traditional gelato shops, their vegan option is a sorbet, which we do. Sorbets are typically made with just fruit, water, and sugar. And we started with making sorbets. But 2 or 3 years ago, we branched out into using almond milk as a base for some of our gelatos. And so we're able to be dairy-free and vegan with those almond milk bases. And so over the past 3 years, we have grown our repertoire of those almond milk kinds. And so a lot of our favorite Spotz flavors we're also making in almond milk base too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have personal favorite flavors that I'm going to share, but tell us a little bit about some of your most popular flavors, just maybe in the store as a whole.
So we are making new flavors every year. That's the fun part of this whole thing for me. All of the recipes are mine, and some are inspired by classic recipes, that maybe are traditionally used as like a dessert. But if I can turn it into a gelato, I think that's, just great fun. In fact, one of our most popular flavors and one that people love is banana pudding, and that's based on my mother's banana pudding recipe. So that's a lot of fun for me. So in the stores, typically, cookies and cream is always the most popular, but it depends on the time of year. If it's fall, salted caramel is a close
Wow,
second.
I hadn't even thought about the seasons changing the most popular flavor.
In the spring, I can't even give away salted caramel. It's so funny. Yeah. People like it in the fall,
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So we've talked about the food trucks and the store. So how many food trucks do you have total now?
Well, we have 8 mobile units.
Wow.
Yeah. So we have trucks. We have a bicycle, which is just adorable. Yeah.
Yes.
We have a wagon. We have a couple mini bars that are used exclusively inside. They look like our trucks. They're real cute too. So all together, we can be in 8 mobile places at one time. And then we have 6 stores throughout Kentucky.
So you stay busy is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's a little crazy. Yeah. But
so tell us the locations of your stores.
So we have 4 in the Lexington area. We have Georgetown, Midway, Versailles, and Frankfort. And then we have 2 in the Louisville area, which are LaGrange and Shelbyville.
Okay. And so when are we going to get one in Lexington?
I don't know.
I didn't put that on my list of questions, but I was going to slide that in there.
Well, you never know where we might pop up. Honestly, every place we've opened has kind of dropped in our lap. We've got a short list of towns and areas that we really like.
Mm-hmm.
And we just kind of keep our eyes open and ears open. And if something comes available in a spot that's on the short list, then, and we think it's the time to do it, we will do it. So I don't say never.
Yep. I get that.
But we haven't seen the right place yet.
Okay. So are there any new stores on the horizon for this year?
Again, never say never, but right now, no.
Okay.
Nothing's planned. Yeah.
Okay.
We are thrilled with the 6 that we have, and we've got some new things that we want to do and promote in these, because everyone is in a small town, so that we can become more active in the communities that we're already in.
Absolutely. And I will say that even though you don't actually have a storefront here in Lexington, they're all relatively close. And I mean, I could probably get to some of the cities from my house easier than I can get to certain places in Lexington.
Right.
So,
yeah.
And I do go on a regular basis, sometimes a little bit more than others, depending on what flavors there are. Yeah. My personal favorite flavors, I do love banana pudding. It hits different.
Mm-hmm.
I love the strawberry sorbet. And then I had the blueberry sorbet. That was one of those that I was at a private event, and it was one of the options. That's the only reason I ever tried it. I don't like blueberries, and I don't know why I liked it, but it was fantastic.
Wow, good.
So anytime I see it on the menu now, I usually get it, and I don't know why it doesn't necessarily taste like a blueberry per se. It's maybe like a sweet blueberry.
Mm-hmm.
Oreo is good, or the cookies and cream.
Mm-hmm. You like the lemon Oreo, don't
you?
The
lemon Oreo,
yeah.
Let me tell you what, I made probably 8 or 10 trips to Versailles for that lemon Oreo because it was all I could think about. Mm-hmm. So, but there are some flavors that are not as traditional, or maybe you wouldn't necessarily see on a menu somewhere, that are fantastic. Yeah. So,
yeah, we kind of like to do gelato with a Kentucky twist.
Yes.
Not just traditionally Italian flavors of gelato.
And there's always a good amount of selections. There's something for everyone, because I'm one of the pickiest eaters in the world. And sometimes I usually will get a scoop of 2 different flavors because, you've got to try multiple. Mm-hmm. So let's talk a little bit about having Spotz Gelato at a wedding. Tell me, if a bride is interested in having that, what is the process for that?
So we do lots of weddings. We do lots of private events in general. We started the private event part of our business probably just a couple years after we had started. We had more people that came to the window at the truck and asked us if we could come to a wedding or a party or a graduation or whatever. And we saw a real need for that. So the way it works is you pay for the truck to come. We typically stay an hour because we can serve 425 people in an hour. We're pretty quick. Even for your larger gatherings, an hour usually does it, but we'll stay as long as you want. You get to choose 4 of our flavors. We send you a list of what's in production right then. Then we hang up a menu board with those on the sign, and your guests just come to the window and order. It's just like a caterer. You pay us, a fee to be there. And then if you go over 100 guests, then you pay so much per guest after that. Otherwise, our minimum includes 1 hour of service for 100 guests.
Okay. And so if a couple is interested in having the actual food truck there and not like the small mini ones, what do they need to have on site for you?
Well, we prefer if they have electric available to us, but each of the trucks has a generator, so we can generate our own power. I always say it's not always the most quiet option, but we can certainly bring our own generator. And just a level area where we can park. That's it,
Okay.
and we get there about 15 minutes before we're going to serve. It only takes us just a couple, 3 minutes to get set up, and then we slip right out afterwards.
So a couple of the ways that you can incorporate Spotz Gelato into the wedding. So in Kentucky, we obviously, June, July, August, some of those weddings can be 100 degrees if it's an outdoor ceremony. I don't want to say that out loud, but it does happen. Is to actually have something for your guests when they arrive before they go sit down.
Exactly.
With a bottle of water. And then there's also the cocktail hour. If you have had a meeting with me, you know that I recommend food of some sort during a cocktail hour.
Well, and I always say I'm the best distraction. While you're getting your pictures finished up, nobody even misses you if they are having gelato.
100%. Literally, anytime there's gelato, it's a distraction for me. And then obviously, as more of a dessert, you could do that with the cake. Sometimes if couples are doing like the dessert bar, it's a great way to incorporate it with the cake or on the dessert bar or with that. And then also as a late night snack. So there are a lot of ways to really incorporate it in. Are there any other ways that you've seen it incorporated?
Well, we've had a couple brides that have used it almost as, if they didn't have a cake, they would use pretty glasses with gelato in them. They would do the whole where they put their arms around and feed each other gelato and in lieu of cake.
Okay, so, that's fun. I haven't seen that, so that's really fun. Yeah.
We are more than open to anything a bride that might suggest. We also, some brides will have a bar truck or a specific cocktail that they're having for their reception. And we are open to the idea of them using, say, our strawberry sorbet in a Prosecco, call it a whatever they want to call it, those sorts of things. We are very flexible,
That's such a good idea. Are there certain months that you see are the most popular that you do weddings with the gelato?
Well, summer is obviously, we do more weddings, but you'd be surprised how many fall weddings we do. September is probably our busiest month overall for events, and both public and private events, including weddings. I think that people like to be outside. They think it's not going to be as hot in September, and it's beautiful. And the leaves start to turn, and, Kentucky's a beautiful, beautiful place in the fall.
100%. There's a reason why it's the most popular. So if a couple is interested in having Spotz Gelato at their wedding, do you offer a tasting for them? What is the process for that?
We do. So because we have stores, they can visit the stores, see if they like our product to begin with. And then if they're interested in booking with us, as soon as they have booked, we set up a personalized tasting for them if they wish. We have some people that book with us that already know what 4 flavors they want, sometimes the tasting is not necessary, but if it is, we are happy to do that once they've booked.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times when I'm working with couples and they mention that they want to have food trucks for their weddings, they ask a lot of questions. And that's a topic that I don't have a ton of experience with. I have a little bit. So I usually reach out to Beth and I'm like, who do you recommend for this? What do you recommend for that? Because having food trucks on site for anything, I don't want to say it's challenging, but it's a little bit non-traditional. And I think vendors are still getting used to that and the requirements and expectations from food truck vendors and what they need. So if a couple is interested in having multiple food trucks for a wedding day, what are some of your thoughts on that? I think, you serve as a great dessert option for that, but I know we have like pizza and barbecue, those kinds of things. Do you have any advice when it comes to food trucks as a whole for a wedding day?
Well, I've seen brides do it different ways. A lot of brides will just have us. We're the only food truck, and that's all they've got. But then there are some other brides that the whole thing is food truck. All of their food is coming from trucks. I've seen brides do it very traditionally with a tent and seated tables and china and the whole 9 yards, and then you just wander over and get your food from the truck, and then you eat it under the tent. I've seen others that are more festival-like. It's very easy to tailor it to the taste of the couple, The best advice that I could give is work with a food truck that has some experience in doing a wedding or other private events, because doing a big public event is much different on a food truck than doing a private event where you're trying to offer another level of customer service, and you're working within a time frame. So look for someone who's experienced with private events. Also, look at your menu options. If you just have a pizza truck, is your guest list going to enjoy just pizza? Or maybe you have a pizza truck and you have a burger truck and you have a sandwich truck, or, your people better than anybody else. And so you can find trucks within your budget for most of the types of food that you would want to have. Barbecue is always easy, and there's tons of barbecue trucks, but you may want to have a second option.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So you have your storefronts. Tell us what your hours are for, like, summer hours for the stores.
Sure. So our hours change kind of throughout the year. Most of our employees are high school kids. So if you kind of go with the school calendar, during the time that school's in, we don't open till 4:30 after they get out of school, and gives them time to get to the shops. So 4:30 through 9 every Tuesday through Friday, and then 3 to 9 on Saturday and Sunday. And then once we get past Memorial Day, we're open 6 days a week, 12 to 9, closed on Mondays, the whole season.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And then what are some festivals that you'll be at this year?
Well, during a typical truck season, we do anywhere from 225 to 250 events.
Oh, that just stressed me out.
In a 28-week season, I think.
Okay.
So lots of places. Primarily, our trucks travel from Louisville to Lexington to the Cincinnati area.
Okay.
And we do lots of large scale events. We also do local community events too. So, and we have so many mobile units, you're bound to catch us out someplace.
Awesome. Well, Beth, thank you so much for joining us today. And I'm so excited for people that haven't tried Spotz Gelato to actually get to try it.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. For more information about Simply Love Studio or to schedule your wedding consultation, go to simplylovestudio.com.